Think about the last time you felt genuinely, completely safe. Not the absence of visible danger, but something deeper. A felt sense that things are fundamentally all right. That the ground holds. That the world in some basic way is working with you rather than against you. For most adults, that feeling is rare, and when it arrives, it tends to feel irresponsible, like you're forgetting something, like the other shoe is about to drop. This video will leave you with one thing you cannot unknow. The vigilance you carry, that low level waiting for the worst, is not wisdom. It is not realism. It is, in the most precise biological sense, a belief system you were taught. And it contradicts something written into every atom of your body from the moment your first cell divided. We inherit a particular picture of the world. Dangerous, indifferent, competitive. Survive or be consumed, guard your energy. Trust nothing you haven't verified. In this picture, safety is something you construct, through money, through control, through vigilance. And anything that threatens that control is a threat to you personally. This picture has some uses, but it also has a cost. And the cost is not abstract. When you operate from the belief that the universe is fundamentally hostile, your body runs in permanent emergency mode. Not metaphorically, literally. The systems designed for temporary crisis become your operating baseline. You hold your breath, in a sense, waiting for something to go wrong. What this material points to, and what the biology bears out, is that this is not your natural state. It is an overlay, and underneath it, there is something far more stable than anything fear has ever built. Start here. You were not born suspicious. The fetus, your body at its most elemental beginning, is remarkably optimistic. It carries within itself the miniature pattern for an entire human adult, and it takes for granted that conditions will be favorable, that the environment will hold, that the process will complete. This is not a wish. This is a biological assumption so fundamental that every cell in the developing body operates on it. Your first heartbeat was an act of trust. Every atom in you was organized under that assumption. You arrived in a state called grace, and the definition is precise. A condition in which all growth is effortless. A transparent, joyful acquiescence that is a ground requirement of all existence. You could not fall out of it if you tried. You share it with every living thing on the planet. The animals move through it without question, and without needing to name it. You cannot fall out of grace, and it cannot be taken from you. What can happen, and what does happen, is that you can hold beliefs so strongly that you become unable to perceive it. Here is a key distinction. Losing access to grace is not the same as losing grace itself. Now think about a tree. A tree does not hold back its roots in case the soil disappears tomorrow. It does not slow its growth because it cannot verify that the sun will rise. It invests completely into depth, into height, into the expensive business of making leaves that will fall off in 6 months and need to be made again. It does this not because it has proven the universe is safe. It does this because trust is encoded into the process of being alive. That is not naivety, that is biology. Everything you need is available to you in your practical experience. The universe gives. It rings with vitality. A tree does not ask for nourishment from the ground or the sun, and so everything it needs arrives. Your relationship with the universe is designed the same way. The same intelligence that maintains the chemistry of a living planet, that built the staggering complexity of your body from 2 microscopic cells, is not working against you. It never was. Because here is where it gets specific. In your culture, the intellect has been trained to operate primarily as a threat detection system, not as one tool among many, as the primary mode of engagement with reality. This approach carries a basic assumption that anything that seems wrong will get worse, that the worst-case interpretation is the realistic one, That hope is a form of self-deception, and the person who sees danger everywhere is simply paying attention. This assumption runs against the basic principles of life. It is not realism. It is a trained orientation, and it has biological consequences. When you believe the universe is out to get you, your body behaves accordingly. There is a particular pattern worth naming, not clinical paranoia, but the everyday version. The mind that has decided any neutral event is potentially a threat. The body's own processes become suspect. You monitor your health for signs of failure. You scan your finances for evidence of collapse. You interpret silence in a relationship as withdrawal. Nothing is simply what it is. Everything is data for the case that things are about to fall apart. In this state, people do not trust the energy of their own lives. They do not trust the natural functioning of their bodies, or accept this functioning as a gift of life. Instead, they question it at every point, even holding their breath at times, waiting for something to go wrong. And in doing so, they remove themselves from access to the very resources that are there to support them. In contrast, there are people who carry a different baseline, not people whose circumstances are visibly better, but people whose underlying orientation is different. These people feel safe and protected even when events do not seem favorable. They feel that in the end everything will work to their advantage. And that expectation, that embodied assumption, changes what they are actually capable of receiving. Because you are a natural creature. And within you, there is a natural state of being that can be an ever-present reservoir of peace, vitality, and understanding. It is structural. It is there. The question is only whether you are willing to access it. The law of attraction reaches towards something true here, the idea that your expectations shape your experience, that what you consistently believe tends to become what you encounter. But the mechanism goes deeper than simple positive thinking. Your underlying assumption about the universe, whether it is fundamentally safe or fundamentally threatening, determines what you are even capable of noticing. It filters your perception. It selects which events register as significant. It tells your body what to do with incoming information. Consider the possibility that the universe you live in is, in large part, the one you have already decided exists. When someone has decided the body is an enemy, they begin to interpret perfectly normal physical sensations as symptoms of disaster. They build an entire reality organized around threat, and then experience that reality as confirmation that threat is everywhere. The expectation and the experience reinforce each other, and soon it becomes nearly impossible to imagine that anything else was ever an option. The reverse is equally true. When you operate from a genuine, embodied sense that the universe is fundamentally safe, you stop spending energy on constant threat management. That energy becomes available, not for techniques or strategies, but for actual creative engagement with your life. The body heals more efficiently. The mind is more resourceful. Problems that seemed immovable become navigable. Nature is luxurious and abundant in its expressions. And within that larger reality, no individual is forgotten, dismissed, or forsaken. That is not a consolation. That is a structural description of the universe you actually live in. Today, at some point, notice the moment you shift into threat assessment mode. Maybe it is reading the news, checking your finances, or anticipating a difficult conversation. Just notice it, not to stop it, but to recognize it as a mode, a learned orientation, not a fact about the world. Then hold one question. What would I do differently right now if I genuinely assumed the universe was working in my direction? You do not need to believe it yet. You do not need to resolve it. Just notice what shifts in you when you hold it as a possibility, what you reach for, what you stop bracing against. That noticing is the beginning of something. In a previous video, we looked at what happens when you stop fighting the current. This was the question underneath that one: whether the river itself can actually be trusted. It can. And some part of you has never stopped knowing that. If the universe is genuinely oriented toward your life at the level of your cells, then you have access to it through more than your 5 physical senses. That is what the next video is about, and it starts with understanding that you were already using those other senses all along.